Hey everyone, Day here, and welcome back to my The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. So we are entering into the trial of Soseki Natsume, and I don't feel any closer to knowing who the true culprit is than I did yesterday. So we will enter into the game, and I'm hoping that at least I would like it to be that at this trial we can potentially glean another suspect. Like, potentially the culprit might be amongst the people we interviewed today at the trial. It could be one of the jury members or something. Well, I don't think it would be one of the jury. Possibly it could be down the line, but I don't think for this case it would be. It seems this case is already complex. So 20th February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey defendants antechamber. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? I know, it's only been 2 days in his eyes, correct? From the trial of Mr. McGillet. We are on a study tour of Great Britain, the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, we're definitely racking up the experience points, for sure. If this was an RPG, we're definitely on our way. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Considering how he was yesterday, around Joan, this is a refreshing glass of water. Like, I appreciate this thought process that he's showcasing right now. Oh, when you put it like that, you're right. Yeah, I 100% agree with Naruhodo. Good morning. I'm guessing it's, yeah, I kind of figured it was Soseki, but... Mr. Natsume, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. His eyes always look kind of... Oh, I can actually see the red. I never noticed that part. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. And I feel like his voice is gonna weigh heavy on me. Hopefully he doesn't speak much. Do all literary people take things so literally? I don't think you can if you read a lot of fiction. I don't know what's wrong with my voice today. I did just wake up, so it's probably just not ready for use. Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives! My whole future hangs in the balance. I am too terrified to tremble! Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I was gonna say, you're definitely pretty dang active for this time of day. I can't do this! I can't take it! Although, welcome student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Are they here for the prosecution? Oh, neither did I. Interesting. So maybe this case does have more to it than I previously expected? Possibly. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence, then, is it? Does she know more? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Yeah, kinda. That's my initial guess. Whether or not that's true or not. Lord Von Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning. And yes, if you continuously do that, I don't think we could stay in Britain for very much longer. Lord Von Zeeks is on the front page of every one. So they're not here for glorious me solving the well, we didn't really solve anything. I knew it! Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? Trial 2 days ago marked Lord von Zeke's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. I don't believe he's dead. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say that as often as I did yesterday, but I don't believe it. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon? What appears to be a mundane murder? Honestly, that's what I've been considering since I heard how many people were in the gallery. That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. I mean, yeah, your life is literally dangling here, so... Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are described. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. I dare forget that. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. There's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Soseki, you're very well informed here. No, he's not a McGilded. I refuse to believe it. But he is very well informed. Yes, I agree. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you! Oh. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. And I definitely plan to give the Reaper another bit of a loss, if possible. I guess, was the last one kind of a stalemate? I don't remember how the trial truly ended. I actually forgot that McGilded supposedly died. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. This is not the future. I am not friends with Edgeworth. And I'm not friends with the Reaper like Phoenix was friends with Edgeworth. We're not channeling that energy yet. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck! Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? This is what you wanted. You literally said that you preferred someone that could speak your native tongue. Didn't you? Isn't that what you said when you accepted me as your legal counsel? But the least lucky lawyer alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, thank you. Exactly. Did this just dawn on you, sir? This can't be news to you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London, with a little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner into the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikatoba Esquires! I am in your debt, forever! I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live! Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! He's so... he's such a character. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. My third appearance altogether. And my second trial against the Reaper. hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. I'll try to keep that in mind because as soon as you waver, just like you believed in me, I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Sogi! I still hate the fact that Sogi died. 20th February, 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Wait a second. They're the jury? I guess they can be the jury, can't they? I see them as potential murder suspects. I guess that's just me though. Because as far as like even what the conclusion I came to yesterday is that they could potentially still maybe, because it was right in front of their abode. But in the eyes of the court, they're just witnesses. Or I guess jurist.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord.
The defense is ready, my lord. Good night, Syndrome. Von Zeeks, I don't think I ever said it, but he's definitely channeling some bad energy.
The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed.
Sorry, what?
Lord Shronkot has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur.
An amateur who literally was able to go toe-to-toe with you, mind you. Someone who is so notorious that you're in the newspaper of almost every newspaper around. Do you have a point?
Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused. I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Chisato-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. You're already drinking wine? The trial has not even officially begun.
Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end.
I don't have words.
Thank you, consuls. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
Why does he seem... He feels so familiar. Wasn't he at the... He was at the, Yeah, he was at the last trial. Was he not? I could be mistaken. Wait, he looks so familiar.
You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
Yeah, his name is Fair Play or something like that, isn't it? Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Sure. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that mustache foreigner did the deed.
Like, even her husband isn't here. So, I want to say that she's just going to, like... I don't know, this just makes me feel like she's more involved than I would like her to be. Right?
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
That's the thing with this game. There are so many different characters that I'm only one person and I'm not a professional. The voice work is just going to be as the voice work is. But I will try my best.
Very well, let us proceed. For opening statement, if you please, Lord Von Zeeks. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who is doing nothing but walking down the street.
They can do.
A knife crime, I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. And this, my friends, is what this game.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now and everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Oh, we're speaking to the inspector first. I guess it's kind of like when we spoke to Detective Gumshoe. And his fries. Or are they called chips?
Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
Is this our first time seeing the witness? So yeah, we are going to get some more information here at the trial. Sure.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be? Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious.
I don't remember his voice.
That was 3 days ago now. She's been comatose ever since.
Oh, she's still alive. She's still alive. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? I mean, I don't think it quite matters. Not. I mean, granted, it might lead towards figuring out what someone's motive could be, but
comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge would not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing, as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, as she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
Case file has been entered into the court record. A file containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in hospital, yet to regain consciousness.
What other weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged-looking Soseki-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
The jackknife has been entered into the court record, a large but commonplace folding knife. So anyone could have had it, anyone could have brought it.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? From what we could tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. But from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes! If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that? In a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way. Objection! I love the way the objection looks. Terry, that was a good bottle of wine.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery.
I'm pretty sure you uncorked. Okay. Sure, uncorked. I mean, corked.
But your words have soured its hollow bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here.
What?
Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir.
Witness testimony. Mr. Natsume's arrest.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred. There was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stopped from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he'd just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him.
Which they used Sherlock Holmes to do so.
Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Oh.
Yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring.
Okay, so the knife wound adds up. Like, I mean, if he was behind her, it's through the back.
I would take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
A photograph of the scene taken by a policeman just after the incident occurred. A large knife can be seen thrust into the victim's back.
You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Well, Forgive me, Lord Von Zeeks. The defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato? I didn't agree to this.
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet.
So basically he was on top of her, so to speak. Like he caught up with her and he said he was getting ready to pass her when she let out a scream. I just don't understand. Because he said that he saw no one. He admits all this except for the fact that he stabbed her.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran.
Wait, he's not British, so there's no reason for him to have that kind of accent.
So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. A green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What would the world come up with next?
Joan, your mind would be completely blown if you saw the future. The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing a woman in the back.
There was nobody else there at the time. Just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there was nobody else who could possibly have stabbed that woman. A fact that the accused concedes.
Ah!
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, Consul. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. It's also the only time we've gotten like solid information. Like we know what the witness looks like and stuff. Mr. Natsume's arrest.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog.
Hold it!
A light fog, you say?
Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much further, though.
That's light, is it? I hate driving to work and there's like fog all over the place. It's so difficult. Plus, I live in an area where deer could just run amok, so it's scary, to say the least.
Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance.
How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate.
I see.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy.
Yeah. That's understandable.
Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Ugh! Chisato-san and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen.
However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact, no doubt, lamented by the accused. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused.
How are you able to state that with any certainty?
Quite simply, my learned friend, as that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us.
Ah, yes. Dr. Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, of Scotland Yard.
That's correct, ma'am.
No, not the baby pets. We must hear their testimony.
The prosecution would, of course, call him to the stand, should it be necessary.
He just looks so scary sometimes. Like, I've seen this pose before, but I don't know, I guess with the deliverance of that sentence. But wait a minute! At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. Yeah, it's getting that way now. We're heading towards the end of summer and blah blah blah, lighter days. I hate it. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen.
I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east.
I mean, yeah, you could just say that you're unaware of the situation in Japan. Easy.
But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas, street lights.
Ah!
The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Wait! Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
The first time in history. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to.
It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector.
I actually need to look over my, I want to look over my evidence. Because we did get 3 more things. Oh, and it's 2-paged. Let me see. Incident report. Details. Young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Name is Olive Green. Female, stout build, early 20s. Pavement of Briar Road, East Side. Reporting officer, Rolly Beat. So We also get the name of the reporting officer, so I feel like that person might come into play at some point. There is a lot of people at play in this trial. Oh, this is going to be a long one. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound found from the large knife, no other sites of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. We had all night. So, Briar Road East Side. I feel like that's going to be important too. Okay, the knife. No other details here. Is like the judge said it's just a run-of-the-mill knife, and the photograph. Nothing there. Okay. Oh, the knife. Okay. The blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement.
Hold it!
From behind, you say?
That's right, as you can see from this print. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition, comatose no less. I'm very sorry, my lord. Yes, she's been being treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial started. I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminated to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your client's side, it seems.
On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky.
Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid.
Ah!
The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
Oh, wait.
Hold it!
I want to press everything for now. Mr. Natsume's belongings.
I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene.
That's his stuff? I thought it was hers. That's not hers?
Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
You have no... That's literally just jumping to conclusions. You have no idea how he decided to carry his books. You are just literally leading the court right now. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Nasume had his hands full with his books. Yeah, he pointed out a different avenue, which is fine, but you have no idea that your route is truly the route that was taken. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Those being a number of old books he just brought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems.
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. Shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stocked floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid.
The closest second-hand
bookshop to the accused's lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. Another place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street.
I probably
butchered that. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end.
He literally did not even have to go that far. Like, this literally all happened so quickly.
Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home.
Mere sham, by the looks of it.
Something like this.
Okay. See, that was pivotal. It's good to press. But I think the scariest times to press anything in an Ace Attorney game is when they're like, I don't have all day, you can't press me that much, and then they're like, okay, we'll penalize you if you press them on pointless things.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
So Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us would turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being the bookshop's name. He shopped at your books. Okay. So I'm guessing bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Will you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
May be.
Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes, it could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
The man be any more sardonic? He was on his way home for bourbon books. Well, I pressed the last sentence. Okay. It was just a matter of working out who the books belong to. I guess it's fine not to, because we don't have much time in this case. It's going to be forever long, so hope that's understandable. Present. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 secondhand books.
And you found that in the accused's room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume?
Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a secondhand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir.
Your Books is another secondhand bookshop, not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that. Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Can't assume. But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes from, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
It could. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes! Thank you! Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely! It absolutely could be right!
Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that.
It's gonna be somewhere like... I can't point to it.
It's just here on the next corner of Mearsham Street, going east.
The local map's information has been updated in the court record. Would that have changed the way he went home? I don't know. And there you have it! As you can clearly see now... Where is he going with this? Is he really going to throw me off, or is he going to just, like, pew, like, release air like a balloon? Oh! I kind of figured there was no way he was going to offer the possibility that he went the long way around. I mean, I don't think it necessarily is the long way around. Not necessarily.
My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
Edgeworth made a circus joke too. Urgh! You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
I, didn't think I needed to spill it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Not unless he took Calabash Road. I mean, there is nothing that says he had to go the way of Briar Road or Measham Street. He could have took Calabash Road and went that way. I mean, yeah, sure, Calabash Road is kind of... It looks like it's longer, but I mean, it doesn't mean that he didn't take it. He could have.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Ah!
Cheers to beers, I say. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend.
Oh my.
Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Ah! I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Of course, Joan wants... Like, Joan speaking up right here, right now. I don't know. I don't trust Joan, is all I can really say. Like, it's not her husband on the stand. It's her. And she's the one that gives me, the red herring, want to throw things off vibes.
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What did I say, eh? I've had enough of this now. 1-2 punch. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? Prosecution's assertion is correct. The members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Soseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but I'm raising an objection. He did not necessarily have to take that route. There are other avenues he could have taken. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, Consul.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. We're returning from Your Books to his lodgings. Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. I don't have any doubt fully there. That's not my problem. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Getting back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round.
It doesn't mean he didn't take it. It does not rule out a possibility. There are times where I've taken the long way home just because. It doesn't mean that it doesn't rule it out as a possibility. Ah,
On a cold winter's night, why would anyone choose to take a longer route home?
okay, so now he's building the possibility, right? Like, okay, with that, I can understand why you will feel led down that route. Well,
The answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
but, aha, yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. They're not going to be okay.
I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such question. He claims he has no recollection.
He was a paranoid man, so I don't think that he would have necessarily taken into account the route he took home. I don't think that he cared too much. He just wanted to get back to his lodgings.
Right, as I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B.
That sentence right there leads credence to what I just said, or Ryunosuke. That he could have taken the longer route home because he wanders around. Like he's proving that point in saying that sentence.
That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember which or where he was or which route he took home.
I don't believe this. No, Ryunosuke, you literally could have used what he just said against him. Now Von Zeeks is all confident and cocky.
I thank you, my learned friend. I suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject.
Smooth operators speak right there. Very, very smooth operators.
Pray, what say you, insightful jurors?
Ryunosuke, you literally could have used what the inspector said. But even if that was the case, it isn't. Oh. I like that guy. He has his hands put up like this.
I agree with Lord Von Zeeks. Wholeheartedly and in every way.
What? I don't believe it. Does this mean?
We members of the jury are completely convinced now. Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty! 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 Guilty!
Nice. I mean, not nice, but just hearing their voices was nice. Is this a multiple paths game? Like, that would be so cool if this was a multiple paths Ace Attorney. Where this actually was a bad verdict because I went the wrong route of logic.
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Oh, he gets to relax over there.
To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, what's gonna happen?
No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion. Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that. Sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those skills the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. And with that, we will conclude this episode. I completely forgot about the, one where he could speak to each juror and, see what they think about it, but take, like, their thought processes and turn it around on them. So we will do that in the next episode. As far as what I feel right now, after seeing the witness, she got stabbed on Briar Road. I really don't think that, I honestly think that it doesn't change much, because he claims that he was walking in front of her, correct? So if that was the case, I mean, he was walking behind her. So if that was the case, I don't see how that could potentially change much of anything at all with what we currently know. So I wonder if I will learn something even more new after talking to the jurors, because right now I'm still like, I don't understand. It just feels like maybe he did take Briar Road himself. Soseki did, because he said he was getting ready to pass her up. So boy, oh boy, this is indeed a case of, I don't even know. I'm so confused by a lot of things. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Until then, bye.